Welcome, one and all, to a very impromptu V8SONLINE broadcast. This is some top split RallyCross here in the Red Bull Global RallyCross Championship here on iRacing.com. We just decided to get something out there to our loyal viewers across the world because, unfortunately, Blancpain Endurance Series was unable to go ahead due to technical difficulties. So we've decided let's jump into Top Split Rallycross and see what's going on. My name is Reese Gardiner, directing is Jay Kennedy, and joining me in the commentary box, Thomas Hins. And Thomas, we finally got a use for our beers.
Exactly right, yes. So I think it's probably a bit more fitting even, because obviously Rallycross can be a bit leery, but a bit of the elbows out, bumping runs and that kind of thing. So pretty fitting, I think, for us to broadcast tonight to a few alcoholic beverages. Interesting session though, because highest we got to Div 2, Div 3 and Div 4, and then there is actually a rookie in this session. So I'll tell you what, Jack Hills is the rookie. We'll be watching him because he's in the hot seat tonight, as we said.
Yeah, certainly is. Jack Hills is a name that I have never seen before. Maybe one of the guys who is just trying out iRacing for the first time because of Rallycross. Jack, if you're watching, welcome. If that's the case, if not, then I'll give myself some lashes for getting you details wrong. But Jack Hills in the Volkswagen Beetle, and Sam Blease. Also in the Beetle, Thomas DePrue, Jorge Lopez Esposito, and Michael Guest. It seems like the rest of the drivers in this 13-car field are in the Ford Fiestas. They're in qualifying right now, just setting laps so that they can decide their starting order and what heats they will compete in. And Mika Happinen to the top with a 41.074, and he has spun it in his Ford Fiesta on lap 2. I get the feeling that might be qualifying over for Mika. No, he's going back out.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, he's got a 2-second gap, or 2/10. He wishes of 2-second, but 2/10 gap to Daniel Ackland. Of course, we saw Ackers in the OSR or Cup Price Racing Rallycross on Thursday night, doing very well indeed. So I'll be expecting him to be up there and certainly at least make it to the final, because Ackers has shown he's very quick in these Rallycross cars, very quick in a lot of different vehicles, but showing his skill here on both forms of on the tarmac and the dirt.
Yeah, certainly. And as we were speaking, Mika Happinen was beaten to pole by Joni Heikkinen, who's just gone pole with a 40.800, and he's about to cross the line on his final hot lap. We'll see if he improves once again. So Mika Happinen demoted to second. So let's see what Joni does as he crosses the line. It's a 40.674, so that's 4/10 over his fellow Finn. Thomas de Proet goes to third place, beating Daniel Ackland, a 41.14 in this very short and sweet qualifying session.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, just to put in just perspective, the pace that probably most of the field's doing here, especially Joni there. I mean, Josh Rogers on Thursday was doing mid-40s to sort of low 40s at sort of maximum for OSR's series. And Joni's only a few tenths off, so he isn't hanging around. That is a really impressive time in that Ford Focus, and the rest of the field is pretty close behind him. A bit of a gap down to second, but it looks like there could be a really juicy battle from pretty much second down to about 5th or 6th there, as they're all within a 10th or 2 as Thomas de Proet goes to second spot with 40.925.
Excellent time there. And of course, we've got to remember, this is heat racing in Rallycross, so the field as we see it is not going to be the field that actually competes. It's going to be positions 1, 3, 5, 7, all the odd numbers, etc. For Heat 1, and then all of the even-numbered grid spots are Heat 2. So the drivers will be split into 2 heats, and then we'll be able to get going and just see how these drivers all stack up against each other. We've got 90 seconds or so left in the session before we tick over to Heat 1. And, well, looks like Zach Hanlon is the only driver still out on track, and he's completed all 3 of his laps. He's currently on lap 4. Zachary, I don't think you're supposed to be out there still.
Apparently, yeah, he's the marshals are giving him the cue to go back in. He's going, you know what, guys, I'm okay. I'll keep doing laps if you don't mind. So he's just trying to get into some more cheeky practice before we go to the first heat. But we've got one driver who has left the session. That's Benjamin Demonts for the number 8 machine. So it looks like he won't be taking part. But otherwise, the rest of the field is still here. And as we mentioned before, it should be a good one actually, because I think we've got a really nice battle for a potential podium, at least in the final and in the heats as well. So I think at least in the midfield we could have some really nice battling, and Hanlon is in that with a 41.273. He has a big moment with the tyre barriers there to finish off his runs, but he's sitting in P6 at the moment for the session. The very solid time that will put him right in there in the races.
Yeah, certainly. He'll be starting on the front row for Heat 1. So Ackland and Hanlon, as well as Whitmore, the main Aussies in this session. It looks like Whitmore will start on the front row in Heat 2, but with Hanlon alongside him with Thomas de Proet. So, well, it looks like the session is over, and we're ticking over to Heat 1. So the Heat 1 grid is Joni Heikkinen in pole with Mika Happinen second, third Daniel Ackland, fourth Michael Guest, fifth Jack Hills, and rounding out this 6-car field, Sam Blease. And Thomas, Rallycross is a chaotic form of racing, and I suppose that's no more evident than at the start.
Yeah, the start is all important to your race, effectively. You want to get the best start you can, because it will basically not completely decide, but it'll be a very major factor in how the rest of your race is going to go with the way that Rallycross plays out. But we'll see. We've seen people get really good launches again on Thursday night. There were some great launches from even the second row or even third row of the grid. So just because you're at the back there, even in 5th or 6th spot, doesn't mean you're not out of the chance of maybe even getting to the lead if you can really nail that jump. So the start, even more important in Rallycross. We'll see what happens here. I'll be keeping an eye actually on Sam Blease with the Herbie livery. We'll see if that'll give him the speed that Herbie has shown in the movies.
Thanks for reminding me to start up trading paints, Thomas.
So I'm here
But
for
yeah.
Maurice.
Yeah. But as you said, like the launch in these rallycross cars is extremely important. You can actually set the launch RPM in order to take maximum advantage of the launch control that these cars have. If you manage to get it just right, combined with your throttle and clutch input, then you can get a fantastic start in these races. It looks like the last car has taken to the grid, the number 1 car of Joni Heikkinen, and this is going to be the field for Heat 1 here at Daytona International Speedway, starting from the pit exit. Away they go, and it looks like car number 10 has gotten a really good start. On the outside into turn 1, Daniel Ackland, but it looks like...
3 wide.
Yeah, almost going 3 wide. Ackland going side by side. He's going to have to yield there to Mika Hakkinen. But looks like Joni Heikkinen has gotten a good gap already with Sam Blease. Oh, Sam Blease and Michael Guest making a little bit of contact in the background there.
Yeah, for sure. And interesting note, Jack Hills in second from 5th on the grid. He got an awesome launch. The rookie here in this field really showing his stuff at the moment. And he's got some pressure from happening at the moment, but he's holding on for now. He's not actually dropped too far back from Joni, but we'll see how this plays out as Joni takes his Joker first time round. What we sort of saw in Thursday night Rallycross as well was that a lot of people getting that first Joker out of the way early. Of course, here in the official series, you've only got the 1 Joker to worry about, not 2 or 3. So he's done now. He's got no more Jokers, which does mean he doesn't have that overtaking token to use later on, as Mika has made the move on Jack Hills.
Yep, and it looks like Mika has already made some inroads into Joni there. So I don't know if when Mika takes his Joker, will he be able to come out in front of Joni?
It looks like actually Mika, and this probably explains why he made the move, he did take his Joker that lap, so he has taken it. But you're right, I mean, his pace looks very solid, and he does look like even over that lap that he's at least keeping Joni company. So the pressure's on for Joni, any mistakes, and Mika's right there.
Jack Hills takes his Joker, but going side by side. Can Jack Hills hold it? Tiny bit of contact, almost forced off the side of the jump, Jack Hills. But wow, he's not letting Mika go, is he?
No, he's looking very solid. He looks very comfortable in that VW. He's the leading VW right now as well. Michael Guest and Sam Blease, has had big contact in that VW at the back. That is a very sorry-looking Herbie right there. So I think his race is effectively done. But yeah, he's looking pretty comfortable out there, Jack Hills. I guess the rookie tag not really showing his talent. I mean, he's keeping ahead of Daniel Ackland, who we saw again on Thursday. No slouch in these rallycross cars as he takes his Joker as well. But let's see where Ackers actually comes out, because this could be very close. With Hills, he's going to be side by side. Oh, not quite close enough, but I'll tell you what, Hills really impressing right now.
Yeah, very much so. Just managed to get that really good exit out of the hairpin and was able to just sneak there in front of Daniel Ackland as he hits that tire barrier. Yeah, it looks like he's still really pressuring the back of Mika Hakkinen here.
Sure, yeah, and Hakkinen has started to drop back from Heikkinen now, so Heikkinen looking pretty strong in that first spot. Did 40.8 last time by, so his pace is very, very solid even in race conditions. So I think he's the one in the box seat here. Just got to keep it clean as he goes on to the final lap, and it should be his for the taking. But Mika's not out of the woods yet. He's got Daniel Ackland and Jack Hills right behind him, so this battle for second is well and truly on as we go on the final lap.
Yeah, certainly. It's a 3-car battle here for second place. Oh, and Jack Hills, not the optimal entry to that section. He's still hitting those tire bundles at the apexes of the corners. He's just managing to keep Daniel Ackland behind him right now as they come into this hairpin. Ackland going straight to the inside, nearly hits his bumper. And now it'll all come down to this transition on the tarmac. I know that when I was competing in the OSR Rallycross series, I was having a lot of trouble with that transition onto the tarmac. Let's have a look at what Daniel Ackland can do here. Hills protects the middle of the road here. Daniel Ackland really pressuring him, and look who's taking their Joker just behind them. That's Michael Guest, but it looks like Jack Hills is going to hold off Daniel Ackland for third place in this Rallycross session. Joni Heikkinen takes the win.
For sure. Great race from Joni. He just controlled that one from the start. Mika and Hills were there in the first couple of laps, keeping him pressured, but good stuff from Joni. He does some donuts as well. Very impressive donuts here, and obviously in four-wheel drive car, it can be very difficult to do donuts, but he's doing them very well here, showing that skill that he has there. But great win for Joni in Heat 1. Mika there coming home in second spot. Daniel Ackland in fourth, because Jack Hills gets the third. Awesome drive from him. I'll tell you what, that rookie tag definitely not showing in that race. That was Michael Guest and Sam Blease rounded out your field in that one with Benjamin Demont not being there for the start. He is back in the session though, so we might see him in the constellation.
Yes, indeed. Well, the Heat 2 grid is forming now. First place, Thomas DeProot, Brody Whitmore in second, Zach Hanlon third, fourth, Yoni Hagner, fifth place, Jorge Lopez Esposito, and sixth place, Ricard Allard. The 6-car field getting ready to go now for Heat 2. The green flag flies, and away they go. Have a look at the jump from car 12. Excellent stuff. They're going to go 3 wide into... Oh, no! Hanlon rear-ended. Goodness me.
That was a proper hit. So that rear end of that Focus is absolutely bent. I'm surprised those fans are still going because they took a hefty whack there.
Damn, that is a real shame. But up front, it looks like Thomas DeProot and Brody Whitmore. The battle is on for the lead. Cars 3 and 4, both Beetles. And, wow. DeProot is not letting Whitmore get away with this. Little bit of handbrake around the turn for Whitmore. He gets that good exit, and then out onto the tarmac section of the lap they go, cutting as far across the grass as they dare, try and straighten up the corner as much as they can. Whitmore elects to take his joker lap. No, actually, that's DeProot. DeProot takes his joker lap on lap 1. So...
Yeah. Oh, look at Richard Alhard's just got ahead, or got ahead of Joni Hagner as well. So some changes there. But yeah, Brody we saw again on Thursday. He showed his stuff in these cars. Quite speedy, it seems, on the mixed surface format of racing. So definitely wouldn't put him out of a shout of getting a shot at the win here. As yeah, look, that battle for third is getting really close.
Yeah, Joni Hagner almost snuck one up the inside there of Ricard Allard. But it looks like Ricard is just able to get the throttle down nicely off the dirt sections of the lap. And Joni Hagner is forced to... Oh, Whitmore. Goodness me.
Taking the joker.
Looks like he hit the side of the Red Bull sign and the joker there, did Whitmore. So that's pretty unfortunate. That's one chance that he could have gotten to take the lead of this race gone. Unfortunately for him. But there is 2 laps left in this race once they cross the line next. So who knows what Whitmore could do.
For sure, yeah, and as I said, we saw on Thursday that he's no slouch in these cars, so he's definitely got the pace to challenge DeProot for that lead. But I'll tell you what, DeProot's pace, to be fair, he's very solid, doing low 41 pretty consistently so far. In fact, every lap has been at least a low 41, so maybe close to a mid at worst. So his pace has been really good in that Beetle. So Brody's got a bit of a mountain to climb here to get past as DeProot does a 41 flat that lap. Really impressive pace from him.
Oh, yeah.
Battle for third's also pretty close. Got Hanlon closing back in after the start shenanigans for him, closing in on 2 ahead. So we could have a nice 3-car battle for third pretty soon.
Yeah, certainly. And have a look. Oh, hang on a minute. Did Ricard Allard hit that tyre barrier? Oh, no, we got a spin.
Oh,
that's Joni Hagner.
Oh, that's gone the
bonnet.
Oh,
no. Oh, that is a shame. So right there, that's Jorge Lopez Esposito. Unfortunately, got the short end of the stick there when Hagner was reversing back onto the track. But that's another position for Zach Hanlon after his very poor start. Unfortunate rear end contact that another racer made with him. The big winner out of all of that, though, Ricard Allard. He has no pressure behind him now.
For sure, and obviously Zachary Hanlon getting a spot too. He goes back up to 4th thanks to that contact. It looks like Hagner's going to take his joker. It's a very bent up Focus though, so I think he'll be struggling to get back. Oh yeah, he's cramping really bad. He's got a battle for the lead. Yeah, look at that. Brody Whitmore closing in on DeProot. He was slightly faster last lap around, and you can see him using all the road he can to challenge for the lead, but he's going to have to try and do it here at the last corner.
Yep, well, it looks like he's a bit too far back to make it work there. Whitmore is going to have to settle for second here as they come out of the final turn. Thomas DeProot is going to win Heat 2 here in Red Bull Global Rallycross at Daytona, and Brody Whitmore takes a very strong second place. It looks like Zach Hanlon just took his joker on the final lap, unable to get third from Ricard Allard, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, have a look at this battle.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, that's it's a Hagner with a very broken Focus. Look at how much that thing's crabbing. He's still going to probably hold on to 5th though. So good job from him to hold on to 5th spot from Jorge there.
Yeah, just managed to hold Esposito off, and looks like that is your field for Heat 2. Now we go on to the consolation. So the winner of Heat 2 was, of course, Thomas DeProot. And, well, now they get to sit out as the bottom drivers from both splits get to fight it out in the consolation race for a spot in the final.
For sure, and a good little field we got for this. 5 cars in the field. Sometimes the consolation can be a bit empty because of the people leaving or not getting the results in the heat. So good to see a good strong field in this consolation final. And obviously all the drivers will be doing the best they can. One to watch as well, Dumont, where you don't really know because he wasn't able to put a lap in quali. So as we've got a jump start already. So here we go.
Reggie, Sam Blease. Oh, off he goes. Looks like
he's just gone.
Oh no!
John Alisi's start has occurred essentially.
Yes, of course, and it looks like Sam Blease is going to get a 10-second penalty plus however much he jumped the start by. But Joni Hagner will be wanting to make good on his misfortune in Heat 2 here.
For sure.
As Michael Guest and Benjamin Dumont behind him having a big battle side by side.
No!
How was that not a big crash? Very good job by Benjamin Dumont to hold it. Very good job from Esposito and Michael Guest to avoid him. That's fantastic driving.
Unbelievable, yeah. So what could have been a race-ending crash has just left Guest losing maybe a spot in 2 seconds. It shows the way of RallyCross. He takes his Joker, which should put him right in with the hunt of a shot of Guest here. He's going to come out side by side out of the blend, but he's just got the move done. And that's him up to third now. But of course, the two behind. Oh, yet the Joker as there's more contact. This battle for third is really on.
Yeah, it looked like Dumont just slowed down very abruptly coming out of that corner. I'm wondering if he accidentally hit an object that we couldn't see. That's very strange. Looks like the tire bundle went flying.
Blease is gone.
Oh, Blease is gone? Oh, yeah. He's manually disconnected from the server. I wonder what happened to him. Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look. It looks like it was a spin.
Yeah, and I think he knew the penalty was coming, so he's thought, you know what, that's probably my race over anyway, so he's pulled it over.
Yeah, he was just unable to keep it under control coming into the hairpin. But Joni Hagner is your current leader of this heat. This is a 6-lap heat. 1 lap longer than heats 1 and 2 to decide the final grid spots for the feature. And the top 2 from this heat will get through into the feature. So right now, it's Joni Hagner and Benjamin Dumont in the box seat as Dumont.
Oh, Dumont!
Oh, no, he spun! That is, oh, goodness me. And that is a very hard turn to get right. And Dumont has, looks to me like he's given up. He's escaped back to the garage, and that is race over for Benjamin, and away he goes out of the server. So now in the box seat for getting into the final, Michael Guest.
And got Esposito behind him. We've seen he did pretty well in his second heat in terms of pace. Just had some instance. Obviously, was an unlucky bystander. And an instant in front of him as well. Both Guest and Esposito. Take some interesting lines off the jump, but they both keep going. So Guest does gain from that though, as Hagner he's just got to pretty much keep it on the straight and narrow, and he's got that win and a transfer into the feature in the bag. But this battle for second is not over, as both these drivers are really giving it everything they can through every corner.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They know what's at stake here. They know that if they finish second, they will get through to the final and have a chance at winning that final heat. So Michael Guest, have a look, Esposito taking his Joker, but he's not able to get that gain on Michael Guest. So Guest remains in P2.
Yeah, and Guest is yet to take his Joker, so he's got that in hand to gain a good 2 seconds on Esposito later on the race. He's going to probably take it either this lap or the next. Going to be last lap next time by. But we'll see how we go here. Esposito's got him right in front of him, giving that bit of motivation to maybe push a bit more and challenge for the seconds. He really chucks in the hairpin there. Not a bad line in the end. He's going to get a pretty good run off the transition. Guess a little bit better. But yeah, Hagner and the Fiesta up ahead. He's just having a nice chilled run, doing some good laps though. Just still doing low 41s despite the fact he's on his own.
Oh, yeah, and have a look there at Esposito. He was able to gain so much under brakes there. He is not done here with Michael Guest. Of course, it looks like Guest will be taking his Joker on the final lap. So Esposito is really hammering the back of Guest's Beetle, hoping to gain some kind of advantage, any advantage, so that he can get second place in this consolation heat. On this last lap, it looks like Joni Hagner way out in the lead. There's only 3 cars left in this race, and Hagner is going to take his Joker on the final lap and take a dominant victory in the consolation race at Daytona. Fantastic job from Joni. It looks like Michael Guest has taken that second place, so he will go through to the final Jorge Lopez Exposito unfortunately missing out.
There you go, yeah. So a good little constellation there. Had some incidents throughout the field. Had a jump start as well. But we're onto the feature now. The grid is setting, and it should be a really interesting final. We've had some great battles already in this top split Global Rallycross Championship event. And I think the final should be on for a really good bit of racing. We've got some really fast guys in this race, and with obviously with a full field on the grid, it's fireworks could really kick off here.
Yeah, certainly. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. Commiserations to all the drivers who did not make it to this final heat. Hopefully you'll be able to join us here on the broadcast and have a look at what's going on. So the revs are going to rise. Joni Heikkinen in the box seat here in car 1. He's got the inside for turn 1. The green flag flies. Have a look at Daniel Ackland start behind him and Zach Hanlon as well.
Oh, 3 wide, a bit of contact. 4 wide, oh no! Oh, they've kept it going. That's Alan, yeah.
Excellent stuff, and big jostling for positions as they come through here for this final 10-lap heat. Oh, goodness me, Brody Whitmore nearly losing it. Jack Hills getting forced offline. Really not optimal for him, but Daniel Ackland versus... Brody Whitmore versus Thomas DeProot. Oh, goodness me, have a look down at the... Wow! Goodness me. Okay, and that's Jack Hills around.
Oh, there's still 3 wide.
Yeah, Joni Hagner, Daniel Ackland, and Mika Harppinen really, really close here, coming up to the last bit of the lap. Will any of these guys decide to take their joker? Have a look at Benjamin DeProot, really, sliding his way through the joker. Fantastic. Putting on a show for the fans. Brody Whitmore comes out just behind him. Looks like DeProot wasn't quite able to get that advantage, so... Wow, what a first lap that was, but Joni Heikkinen out in the lead by a fair margin.
Yeah, awesome stuff. The battle's still going. Yeah, Hagner and Ackland are still going at it for P5. Ackland's going to break super late into the hairpin. Nearly draws the tyre barrier, but he comes back.
Sneak up the inside. No! Just a bit of oversteer. Hits the wall on the inside. He's going to have another shot at that later on. Is anyone taking their joker this time around? It looks like, yes, Brody Whitmore takes his. And
Allard as well.
Yes, Allard takes his joker as well. He's going to come out side by side here with Hagner.
Oh, no!
Both of them spin. Both of them make contact. Both of them out of contention for the win here. And Hills comes through over the hill. Gets Ricard Allard in the rear almost.
Oh, unbelievable stuff.
Sneak one up the inside here. Yes, he can. Just gets that traction on the dirt. And really good stuff there from Jack Hills, making a recovery after a very poor lap 1.
There you go. Yeah, Jack Hill's really showing his stuff in both the heat and this feature. But again, we saw this in Thursday night. That transition can be really lethal around this Daytona circuit. It can really cause some dramas with the clashing of lines into the chicane. So it's happened again. But either way, that does still mean Joni Heikkinen still leading the way after all this. He's out in front having a nice cruisy run. But Brody Whitmore is right there to challenge as well. Thomas DeProot's holding on in 3rd spot. And Mika Harppinen is also in 4th with Ackland just behind. He's been closing in on the top 5. So we could have a nice little battle with Ackland and Harppinen very soon.
Yeah, we certainly could. Now, the question is, has Joni taken his joker? I don't think he has.
Yeah, let me have a look. No, he has not. Wait. Yeah. No, he has not. No. Right. Oh, he has. Sorry, first lap. So there you go. So he's taken his. So has Brody taken his? Yes, he has too.
Yes, he has. So Ackland.
Oh, there you go, Ackland, yeah.
Yeah, just taking his joker. So he's lost a bit of time to DeVroot in front of him and is now facing a lot of pressure from Mika Harppinen. But Ackland, he's no slouch. He's no slouch.
Well, but look at Harppinen's right there, and Harppinen hasn't taken his joker either, so he can sort of sit behind Ackland, and he'll be assured to probably get him as long as he stays sort of within about a second of him. But look at Harppinen, I don't think he wants to wait for the joker. I think he wants to get this move done pronto.
Yeah, he certainly does. Come up to the joker now. Mika Harppinen comes up, and will he stay right? Yes, he will. Yep. He's going to take his joker. He may take the position here from Daniel Ackland. Yeah, really deep. Really deep. And he's managed to get the position back from Ackland, and now he will be pressuring Thomas DeProot for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, for sure. And DeProot's and Brody Whitmore are closing in. DeProot's actually been going quicker. And Brody Whitmore had a really, really tardy run out of the double right-hander. DeProot nearly rear ends him at the hairpin. He's going to chuck it in there, get a great exit still, and get it done. Oh, great move from DeProot. Wow.
That is excellent stuff from DeProot, just able to get that traction down nicely. Awesome stuff. But I get the feeling that battle is not over.
Brody nearly going for the dive bomb as well at the hairpin. But
Showed
wow,
him the nose, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
Michael Guest takes his Joker. He comes out in front of Zachary Hanlon. So Hanlon is going to have a fight on his hands here as well.
And he's taking his Joker, so he can't use that to pass Guest. So you have to legitimately go for an overtake. He's got a really good try straight line out of the double right-hander, but not quite able to get the move done. But we could have a really good battle for second here. Where Brody Whitmore looks like he's just struggling a bit pace-wise for the last few laps, so he might not be safe in third just yet.
Nah, certainly not. I mean, Mika Happinen, we've seen him in BES. He is an incredibly quick driver, no slouch, and he seems to have that Fiesta hooked up nicely underneath him. Brody Whitmore is he's falling back a little bit from DeProot. So yeah, who knows? This could be a hell of a battle for third. Have a look at Daniel Ackland behind them, though, slowly making gains. Michael Guest and Zach Hanlon, though, still locked together in this battle for 7th place.
Yeah, for sure. It's an awesome little battle. And Brody Whitmore, though, look at that. Happinen is right behind him. Oh, looks like Hanlon's had a bit of a tardy run out of the hairpin and sliding it through the rhythm section. Lost a bit of time to Guest, but I think this battle for third is well and truly on. Whitmore really struggling as we have 2 laps to go in this feature race, and Brody Whitmore's got it all to do to hold on to the podium. He's got Happinen right behind him, and then Ackland is right there if these two get into each other.
But you can see that Happinen is a lot stronger into the corner entries and off the jump in that section of the lap. Whitmore just lacking a little bit of confidence in that section. Coming up to the hairpin, let's see what they can do. DeProot still using that handbrake around the hairpin. Not necessarily the fastest line, but he's managed to make it work for him so far. Whitmore and Happinen. Oh, did Whitmore just hit one of the tire bundles there? That is going to hurt him massively. Happinen now right on the back of him. Whitmore locks the brakes coming up to the hairpin. They are going to start the last lap here. White flag at Daytona International Speedway. Have a look at Happinen making those gains in midair over the jump.
Oh, is he close enough? Here we go. Look, he's going to do it. Oh, no.
Hits the tire barrier, and Ackland is spun around by that. So, unfortunately, Happinen loses a bit of time to Brody Whitmore. Will he be able to get him in this last stage of the race, though? Not quite sure, but Joni Heikkinen rounds the final turn to take an absolutely dominant victory in the final. Thomas DeProot is going to take second. Who will be third, though? Brody Whitmore or Mika Happinen? Let's have a look. Oh, bit of contact. Rear-end contact, but it looks like Whitmore is going to hold on for third just.
Oh, great battle though for third at the end there. Some really elbows out racing. What you sort of expect in Rallycross. A bit of biff and barge is sort of expected in Rallycross. There's a great battle between those two. So awesome result there from those two drivers. Happinen gonna have to settle for 4th in the end out of that one. 5th. Yeah, exactly.
Hackney got Ackland.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so Hackney got Ackland. So Guest actually gets 5th as well. He had a bit of a quiet race, but for the number 13 car, in fact, I think. Yeah, the worst numbered car in the session. He'll be really happy with the 5th in the final. That's probably going to get him a lot of IR gains out of that result. So great race from Michael Guest. Hanlon did indeed get the 6th spot in the end. It was actually from Jack Hills because Ackland dropped down that far. Then it was Ackland in 8th. Then we had, I believe, Allard in 9th. Or I'm missing somebody. No, sorry, Joni Hagner I think was 9th, and then it was Allard in the last spot. But that was I don't know about you, Reese, but that was a pretty fantastic, I think, final there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I was not expecting that to be that entertaining. Just absolutely brilliant racing here in the iRacing Red Bull Global Rallycross Series. The Rallycross content on iRacing has been brilliant so far. I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Thomas. It was a pleasure commentating this with you.
Yeah, for sure. And, well, I guess for seeing as this has been impromptu, JR Race Directors just mentioned our little broadcast, whether we will maybe go again in 25 more minutes. I don't know if you're keen, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, Yeah, we'll see how we go. We might go live then again in about 20, 25 minutes. We'll soon see. We'll find out in a bit. We'll obviously have a little discussion and find out. But either way, yeah, it's been awesome fun, Reese. For an impromptu broadcast, I think this has been a lot of fun. Again, it just shows that even though this isn't a strength of field time zone, you don't have probably the absolute best around in rallycross driving. It's still produced awesome racing. That was a great feature at the end. So, I mean, if that isn't a great promotion, I think, for what rallycross can do and how much fun it is just to race in and to watch, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, excellent. Yep, fantastic points, Thomas. And we will see you guys in about 25 minutes' time for the next race at the top of the hour. You've been watching iRacing Red Bull Global Rallycross on V8s Online. See you again soon.